Solving inequalities using addition or subtraction. Objectives: to use addition or subtraction to solve inequalities. Equivalent inequalities are inequalities that have the same solution. Okay, and they talk about the concept of addition property of inequality. Now, when we're adding on inequalities, we're solving equations just like we did when we had an equal sign, as opposed to having the greater than or less than symbol. So that just means if I want to solve an equation, if I had x minus 2 and I need to move the 2, I can add to both sides and it doesn't change anything. Okay, it says what are the solutions of n minus 5 is less than 3? So I start off with n minus 5 is less than 3. I want to solve for n, so I'm going to treat the inequality just like I would if it was an equal sign. To move the 5, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So now I have, these guys cancel out, n is less than 8. And you could check your solution if I choose a number less than 8. 0 is always a nice one if it's one you can choose. 0 minus 5 is less than 3. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. And negative 5 is less than 3. I know I've graphed or solved the question correctly. Okay, now to graph, let's see, we have 0, 8, and I'm going to put a 10 here. And it says n is less than 8, meaning 8 doesn't work, so I'm going to have an open circle. And we already said that 0 worked, so I'm going to shade towards 0. Example 2, it says, what are the solutions of m minus 11 is greater than or equal to negative 2? Graph and check your solution. So now I have m minus 11 is greater than or equal to negative 2. To move the negative 11, I'm going to add 11 to both sides, because that's the inverse operation. So now I have m is greater than or equal to 9. So I'm looking for a number that's greater than or equal to 9. I'm going to choose 10. So let's see, if I choose 10, I'm going to say 10 minus 11, is that greater than or equal to negative 2? Well, 10 minus 11 is negative 1. Is negative 1 greater than negative 2? Yep. So now I need to graph this. Let's see, 0, 9, and we can put 20, it doesn't matter. We know it's going to be a closed circle because of the equal to right here. And we're wanting to pick a number greater than 9, so we're moving towards the 20. Example 3, same thing with subtraction. We treat it just like we did when we had the equal sign, because what we subtract from one side, we can subtract from the other. Okay, so now I have negative 1 is greater than or equal to y plus 12. I need to get y all by itself, so I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. And so I have negative 13 is greater than or equal to y. Now for some of you, you might want to change this to say, okay, that means that y is less than or equal to negative 13. Because sometimes we like having that variable in front so that way we can talk about, I need a number that's less than or equal to negative 13. So when I'm graphing this, I'm going to have negative 13. I want to have 0 over here. And I'll say negative 15. It's equal to the 13, so I'm going to have a closed circle. And now I have to decide, am I shading towards the 0 or towards the negative 15? Well, it says y is less than that. And if I plugged in 0, is 0 less than or equal to negative 13? Well, no, because I would rather have no money than owe someone money. So that means I'm shading towards a negative 15. Example 4. It says a club has a goal to sell at least 25 plants for a fundraiser. It says club members sell 8 plants on Wednesday, 9 plants on Thursday. What are the possible number of plants the club can sell on Friday to meet their goal? Okay, so when we set up our inequality, we need to think of it as the number of plants they sell and it says they want at least 25 plants. So think of it this way. If they sell 25 plants, they've reached their goal, they're happy. Would they be happy with 24? No. Would they be happy with 26? Yes, so that means the number of plants sold has to be greater than or equal to 25. Okay, so now we can look at the number of plants they sold. On the first day, they sold 8, and then Thursday they sold 9, plus we don't know how many they sold on Friday, so we can say F for Friday has to be greater than or equal to 25. 8 plus 9 gives me 17, so now I have 17 plus F is greater than or equal to 25. I'm going to subtract 17 from both sides to solve for F, and so now I have F is greater than or equal to 8. So that means they need to sell 8 or more plants. Okay, lesson check. Make sure that you've done this before you come to class.